Here I am with the Mendel 90 printing out the final piece of 16 copies of printable interlocking puzzle number 2. Been busy this week. Here's the box full of parts that I've printed so far, coming out very nicely, and printed each piece in a different colour. This is a rather fluorescent pink that's going in now. And the printer is really nicely tuned at the moment, so it's been printing out these parts very well. I'm printing onto glass coated with PVA glue, which makes an absolutely superb surface. The filament sticks to it perfectly. I don't get any curling right from the very first part that goes down, and throughout a whole, sometimes 12-hour print, with the bed held at about 55 degrees centigrade, nothing budges. When it's finished, I can take the glass off the printer bed and try and pull the parts off the bed, and they just won't come off. But then if I put the whole sheet of glass into a few millimetres of water in a washing up bowl, within 5 minutes the pieces just float off, which makes it very easy then to wash the glass plate off and coat it with the dilute PVA glue again, ready for the next piece. So I'll carry on showing you different parts of this print as it proceeds. It's probably going to take 6 or 7 hours to finish, but when it's complete I should have all the parts ready to assemble 16 copies of this nice puzzle. Here you can see another shot of the first layer going down. Very important to get the first layer height just right. If the nozzle is too low, then the first layer gets squashed too flat and spreads out sideways. If it's too high, then it doesn't stick properly and it doesn't fill in. What I'm looking for here is a base layer that is completely filled in and solid, so that when the part is finished, if you were to look at that, it would be watertight, and equally not sticking out too proud on the sides because it's been squashed too flat. So it takes a little tuning to get that first layer right, but it's well worth spending time doing that, because once it's set you can pretty well leave it and it will be right for all the other prints that you do. I've been printing all of these parts with a 0.15mm layer height, which is a nice compromise for the duration of the printing, but also the resolution of the pieces, and that works best with a 0.45mm line width. Here you can see the bottom of the piece. You can see how it's nice and smooth and completely filled in. To get that right, it's worth doing some calibration pieces. Here's the first calibration piece that I printed. It's a single line width, and only takes about 15 minutes to print that out. After printing it out, use calipers to measure this thickness here, and it should be 0.45 millimeters, which is what's specified in the software. So I measured that one and it was 0.49, so I was able to do the sum, 0.49 divided by 0.45, and work out the change that I needed to make in the software. Entered that change and It effectively meant reducing the flow rate from 100% down to 90%. And here's the second print, and that is spot on, line thickness 0.45. So now I know the printer is tuned nicely, and all of the parts should come out looking nice both on the bottom surface and on the top surface, which you can see there. So here's the glass bed in a bowl of water. The last piece is finished printing. These have been in here for about 5 minutes and they're now no longer stuck. And I can just lift them up. Until I put this in the water, these were stuck so strongly it was difficult to knock them off with a hammer, but that's the wonderful thing about printing onto PVA. Makes it really easy to get the pieces off, and they stick so well that nothing shifts. Right, time to assemble the puzzles and try them out. So here's the finished piece. You can see a nice clean top surface. Smooth and shiny on the bottom. Verticals not too irregular. Interesting how the different colours of PLA print differently. This one's about average. The green printed nicely. Actually printed those on a 45-degree angle, and you can see how the infill is going in the X direction, but they just fitted on the bed better that way, so I did that. The yellow came out a little bit runnier, and so it's got a few little blobs on the side here. I'm just going to trim those off for the final puzzle. And the light pink didn't print so well. Again, some blobs, but on a few of them there were some gaps left behind, and the printing was a bit irregular. But on the whole, all pretty good. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. Lovely colours, as the Haberdashery filaments always are. So there we are, my 16 copies of printable interlocking puzzle number 2.